Hi everybody, welcome to the Experience Business at UL Taster event, which has been run by the Kemmy Business School this evening. My name is Fergal O'Brien, and tonight is just one in a series of events that we're running throughout the CAO season. Some of you might have even been on one of these before, or you might even been at our open day last Saturday. So this event is really focused on you, the students, and it's a great opportunity for you to learn more about our undergraduate programs and hear about what life is really like as a KBS student. And we're lucky to be joined by some of our students here tonight live and on video, so that's a real bonus for us. Now, to get the most out of this, I suppose really there's no need to be shy. You can't be seen on camera and there's no requirement to speak, but what you can do is you can ask questions in the chat function at any stage, and we're going to pick those up at the end of the event. So get your questions in early so that we can kind of organise them and categorise them and answer them in an efficient way. I suppose the other thing maybe to kick off, just to let everybody know from what parts of the country you're from, maybe put your school in the chat function there and we'll see where everybody's from. So we're going to get the chat going, and while I'm talking, we'll see what schools you're coming from. Elaine is going to publish those. She's managing things behind the scene. Here tonight, we're really interested in 3 programs that are available to you on the CAO. We have the Bachelor of Business Studies, which is a business degree equivalent to the BComs that you hear about at UCD and UCC and in UIG. We call ours a BBS, a Bachelor of Business Studies, just a different designation. Essentially, it's the same thing. That's actually the degree I did here. I did a Bachelor of Business Studies. I majored in accounting and finance, and I minored in financial services. We'll also hear about the BA in International Business, which is a lovely business degree that allows you to pick and choose your subjects and build your own degree as you run through the 4 years with us. And we'll also talk about law and accounting. Now, law and accounting is slightly different in the sense that it's quite structured, and it's, for all intents and purposes, 50% law and 50% accounting for the 4-year experience with us. Another huge highlight that you'd hear about in terms of the UL and particularly the KBS offering is the work experience that we offer. It's built into all UL programs, by the way, but in the business school, it's 8-9 months work experience in 3rd year. And you can choose to do that locally, nationally or internationally, and we match our jobs with your preferences. One distinctive feature of the BA in International Business is that there's a compulsory year abroad, both studying and working. We arrange all of that for you. So my colleagues are going to join the call as we proceed and outline that in much greater detail. But let's get straight into things in terms of hearing from our students, which are probably more interesting to you. You're going to hear from Emmett O'Doherty, one of our current 4th year students on the BA in International Business programme. Emmett is a graduate of St. Flannan's College in Ennis. He majors in marketing and completed his Erasmus exchange, virtually by the way, in Strasbourg Business School in France. And last year he was lucky enough to gain experience in digital marketing, working with an international yacht charter organisation in Paris. Now that's some great work if you can get it. Emmett will speak to you about his experience as a KBS student now. So over to you, Emmett.
Thanks a million, Fergal. Yeah, so as I said, I'm an international business student. So what that means is every semester I am able to choose which modules I think will interest me most, or which I think I'll be able to excel in. So throughout the business school, you have accounting, economics, marketing, HR modules, finance, and you're able to pick those according to what you think would be most interesting. In addition to that, you have the option of choosing a language. It's not compulsory for the course, which a lot of people might have thought before, but it is there should you want it. And then obviously you have arts modules as well, which is something unique to the course, where you could do psychology or sociology modules that can add and contribute to your course overall. In addition to this, as Fergal said, there's a compulsory year abroad split between a study abroad semester, an Erasmus, and then a work placement called a co-op, and it's all sorted by the university, which is really, really practical. So you can choose from a range of European universities, and they'll be your Erasmus options, or sometimes you can go further afield with a few choices in Australia or America. So you're really spoiled for choice in that sense. I guess a lot of people will be wondering like how I decided to choose international business over BBS. The main thing to point out is the international business course is slightly more points than the BBS course. You will share some modules with the BBS students, but you'll also get exclusive access to other modules that BBS students don't study themselves. And then in addition to that, you also have FYP or a thesis at the end to do, which that's way down the road. You don't need to worry about that anytime soon. The great thing about international business as well is it's a slightly smaller course. So you have like your core group of people who are studying and going through the international business experience together. And then obviously you can mix and mingle with other modules, which is really great. It was really great then to be able to go abroad with the co-op placement to Paris. I was fortunate enough to go with another student from UL. 7 months paid work placement in a field which will be a very practical addition to your CV, and you get great networking opportunities, and it's just really, really an unbelievable experience. In addition, the Erasmus options, I know I was unfortunate enough not to be able to physically travel, but I've spoken to students who have been fortunate enough to go on their Erasmus and study abroad semesters, and they said it's an unforgettable and a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it's just so fun. Then I guess taking things out of the academic side, you're looking at the social side of things, what goes on in UL. No better people to ask than the students themselves. Plenty of clubs and societies. You have your Freshers Week, you have your Rag Week, you have all these great opportunities to mix and mingle with people. And thank God restrictions are easing, because you can finally get together again and meet the people who you're going to be spending the next 4 years or more with. One of the best things is Jersey night in Stables the Sunday, when you're meeting all these people from all across the country. You're wondering, oh, am I going to be spending the next 4 years with them doing their exams, going through group projects together? It's really great. So yeah, that's international business and a bit of UL in a nutshell. So I think if any questions, you want to fire them into the Q&A, and we'll be more than happy to answer them for you.
Thanks, Emmett. That's great. I think what Emmett kind of portrays there is the flexibility of the BAIB in terms of choice and obviously the experience abroad. Just want to pick up on one point that Emmett makes. It's a very important one, and it's a subtle one, and it's not one that people normally kind of can research on their own. So Emmett is right, the BAIB is a higher points program. There's about 100 points difference between the Bachelor of Business Studies and the BA in International Business. You can actually replicate Emmett's experience through the BBS by choosing to go abroad for a semester through Erasmus or study abroad, and asking for your work experience to be abroad. And if those things work out for you, you get that 1 year's experience abroad as part of your BBS, but it has cost you 100 points less. Okay, so that's really, really important to know about anything that you're researching. You can influence your experience through choices that you make, and that's a nice thing about business studies and the BAIB, as Emmett pointed out there. So without further ado, we're going to move on to Amy Hogan, who's a current 4th year student on our Bachelor of Business Studies program, majoring in human resources with a minor in organizational psychology. Amy is from Wexford, a graduate of Our Lady of Lourdes Secondary School. She completed her work placement, as we refer to it as co-op, at Regeneron in the technical training department. Regeneron is a large multinational based in Limerick. Amy is one of our class reps and has extensive experience in volunteering with various national organisations, and along with Emmett is one of our KBS student ambassadors, and we'll hear about Amy's experiences now. Over to you, Amy.
Perfect, Fergal, thanks so much. It's great to have the opportunity to speak here this evening, as I know it can't be easy for you to make this huge decision when everything is still virtual. But I'll talk through my experience, I suppose. When I was filling out my CAO, I did the same, attending various open day events and whatnot. I always knew that I wanted to study business in college, but I wasn't sure where exactly I wanted to do it. Two major pulls for me to UL was, number one, the campus, and you see in that video there we had at the start, the UL campus is next to none. The facilities are amazing, the grounds are absolutely beautiful, and you get a special feeling when you're walking around campus. It's just so stunning. And then secondly, the choice that you have as a Bachelor of Business Studies student. It's very daunting, to decide what you want to do with the rest of your life when you're only 18 years of age, or unless you're a mature student. But the beauty of the Bachelor of Business Studies degree is that in first year and the first semester of second year, you get a taste of all the modules that UL have to offer. So you have your HR, marketing, finance, economics. You get a taste of everything. So you know what is, because you wouldn't have studied some things before. Maybe in secondary school I never studied economics until I came to UL. So then in second year you get to pick your major, and I chose HR for that. A tough decision to make, as every module in UL is so interesting and lots on offer to learn. But in the end I chose HR. And then another huge pull factor for me was what Fergal mentioned, the 9-month work placement. Fantastic opportunity. It really prepares you for the world of work. As for me, before I went on my co-op, I had a completely different idea to what the world of work, the professional world of work would be. And then I even came back to fourth year with a different perspective on how I should go towards my assignments and complete them, as I know what employers are looking for now, which is a huge help. Yeah, I mean, I came from, I don't know if anyone is on the call from my secondary school, but it is quite small, and I come from quite a rural area. I was coming to UL, I came on my own, but the beauty of UL as well is the clubs and societies. They are amazing. But not only that, and I know the importance of attending your tutorials and your lectures for academic reasons, but most of my best friends I have met in tutorial rooms in the Kemmy Business School and the second week of college, and I'm still friends with them now, making plans for moving to jobs together in September when we graduate. So it is really important to put yourself out there. I know it can be very daunting, but everyone's in the same boat. I think that's what's so important to remember, that you're not alone and everyone's out here to make friends, and it's the societies and clubs in UL definitely a great place to start, as well as the first 7 weeks programme, which I'm sure will be touched on later. But yeah, that's my story of UL so far anyway.
Thanks, Amy, that's great. Thanks, Amy. That was great. Really good insight into the experience of being a Bachelor of Business Studies student. A couple of things to pick up on there from Amy's talk. I often do a lot of school visits, and we talk about what the university experience is like, and Declan will talk to us later in a lot of detail about this. But I always give kind of 3 pieces of advice in terms of integrating yourself into a university community. And as attend your classes, so you should really be getting to 90% plus of your classes. Everybody misses a class or two. It's just a natural part of the experience. But get to all of or most of your classes. Meet your friends on campus and join a club or society. If you're not doing those 3 things, you're actually not really part of a university community. And believe me, this is a large community out here at the University of Limerick, which is 3 miles outside the city. We could have 15,000 people here at any one point in time, so it's like a large town. So you really have to integrate yourself into it, and Amy kind of alluded to that in terms of it is daunting, but you throw yourself into it. You integrate through joining societies, you integrate through coming on campus, meeting your friends, and actually going to your classes. And that means then that you can actually be part of that community and contribute to it and benefit from it also. So yeah, so we've had a little taster of the BAIB, the Bachelor of Arts in International Business, and a little taster of the Bachelor of Business Studies. So what we're going to kind of lead into now is just come away from the programs for a second, and we will deal with questions around the programs later. But we're just going to have a little talk now from one of our sporting stars, and somebody who very much benefited from the amazing sporting facilities we have here on campus in UL. But hugely significantly, this person has also benefited from the quality of the academic education here. And I should mention, it's something I should have said earlier, the Kemmy Business School at UL has recently become triple accredited. So that means it's AMBA accredited, AACSB accredited, and EQUIS accredited. Now, those badges may not mean much to you, but let me contextualize it for you. That puts us in the top 1% of business schools in the world. So this particular speaker that's coming up now benefited from that superb educational experience. He is a member of the Limerick senior hurling team, and he has accrued 3 All-Ireland championships in the last 4 years. It's Tom Morrissey, and Tom is going to talk to you tonight about how he chose to study at UL, about his experience with the BBS programme, and his time on work placement with one of the top accountancy companies in the country. So it's over to you, Tom.
Thanks, Fergal. It's great to be here tonight, attending this event with the Kemmy Business School. Delighted I could be here. But yeah, looking back on my time in business studies in UL and in the Kemmy Business School, started a while ago, back in 2014. It seems a lifetime ago to me. But yeah, I suppose, why did I choose it? Studying business in UL when I was, you know, back 17, 18, the same age as the audience here tonight. You know, when I do reflect and think back at that time, I probably knew that I had a flair for business at that stage, and I liked it. In 5th and 6th year in secondary school, I had studied the 3 core business subjects, you know, accounting, economics, and business studies itself. So I knew that it was an area that I wanted to pursue and wanted to study further when I did go to college. And that's why I think was the first thing why business studies in UL appealed to me. Then when it came to the stage of kind of looking for courses and looking around, you know, Kemmy Business School itself is renowned to be one of the best business schools in Ireland. And I was looking for, I suppose, a business studies course that maybe allowed you to get a flavour for all things business and didn't really, I suppose, maybe pigeonhole you from year one. And that's exactly what business at UL does. You know, you get a flavour for all areas of business. You know, the five main areas that there are, which is accounting, economics, human resources, marketing, and insurance. And you know, when you get a chance to try all those in your first 2 years as part of the business studies course at UL, and it's not until you go into 3rd year of the course that you have to decide on one specific area that you want to pursue at that stage. So I think for someone like me at that time in my life, it was exactly what I was looking for. And you know, to get that chance to, you know, delve a little bit into each of those, as I said, core business areas, it was a brilliant opportunity, and it really, I suppose, helped my decision making, you know, with an extra 2 years study under my belt in college. And as I say, I suppose a taste there of each of those areas. It really, I suppose, cemented where I wanted to go with my college. I suppose, and study from year 3 onwards, and I suppose maybe after college, you know, you're that bit more mature, and you know, you just have that, I suppose, knowledge as well of what you like and what you don't like. Then also, I suppose, part of the business studies course in UL, you get a great, you know, opportunity to go out and co-op placement. So this is when you get to go out and, you know, work in the area that you're studying for 8 months. You do it in 3rd year, your 2nd semester in 3rd year, so from January to August. And, you know, this 8 months, I find it hugely beneficial. You'll have picked what area you kind of want to major in for 3rd year, and you'll have 1 semester under your belt. And then you get to go and have the chance to actually, I suppose, what you're studying in the lecture hall or in the classroom, you get to actually go out and put it to the test in a real life situation, and see if this is like something that you really do want to pursue in for work and after college. You know, personally for me, I got the chance to go into Deloitte, which is a top class firm. You know, they'd be one of the big 4, as they say, in the accounting industry. And I was in their audit department, and you know, for me, it was probably a learning that, you know, audit wasn't for me, and you know, but that was a huge benefit as well, because it got me on, you know, going back to college, where will I go from now? And you know, it led me to where I am today, which is in a tax department in Ernst & Young. You know, and it got me, you know, while I identified this isn't for me, and it led me to, you know, something that I do like. But then you have the people that I know that went on a co-op placement, and you know, they luckily went into something and they're like, yeah, I do like this. And I suppose they just had the benefit of like having it cemented when they were going into their grad contract or whatever it was. you know, after college, that they had done it before and they knew that they liked it and wanted a career in it. So it was usually beneficial, whichever experience that you have. You might be lucky and have a good one, or you might be lucky and say, look, this isn't for me, but I'll try this, and it'll lead you to I suppose something that you do like, which is huge when you're going pursuing a full-time job after college. I suppose outside of the classroom and maybe the course itself, why did I want to study in UL? And for me, it was their campus. You know, I think UL is second to none in regards to campus, and specifically for me was their sporting campus. I'm adamant that it's the best sporting campus in Ireland. They literally have everything you need, from grass pitches to 3G pitches to 50-meter swimming pool, Olympic diving pool, basketball courts, indoor and outdoor running tracks, rock climbing wall. The list is really, it is endless when it comes to UL and it comes to sport. And you know, it's all their facilities are of a, I suppose, elite and a high performance nature, and that's something that I really wanted to be involved in and be a part of. And you know, for my own development, you know, as a hurler, I wanted to make sure that I was in an environment that would allow me to do so. And UL for me was the obvious choice when it came to sport. Lastly, just want to say thanks very much again for the Kemmy Business School and you, Fergal, for having me on. And to the members of our audience tonight, I just want to wish you the very best picking out your option for your CAO form. I'm sure you'll make the right choice, and hopefully we'll see you here studying at the Kemmy Business School. And lastly, just best of luck with the Leaving Cert. I hope it really goes well for you. I've no doubt it will. And I hope that you get the course that you desire. Thanks again for having me. See you, lads.
That's brilliant, Tom, and thanks to Tom for coming on. I mean, Tom is a great ambassador for us on many levels, to be honest with you. I mean, he's an academic ambassador and obviously he's a sporting ambassador as well. Just a couple of things around Tom's talk. The interesting thing about Tom is he did his undergraduate with us, okay, in the business school, and then progressed onto a master's in taxation. Now, that's quite a common journey anymore for people to pursue master's qualifications. The nice thing about business degrees, whether it be the BBS or the BAIB or even law and accounting, it can set you up for further study, particularly if you want to deepen your experience in things like, let's say, risk management and insurance, or business analytics, or human resource management, or work and organizational psychology, or project management. We have probably 15 postgraduate courses that you might be interested in after studying your business degree. And like I said, it's quite common for people to do that anymore. And one other thing in relation to business degrees that I think merits mention is the space it gives you to figure out what you want to do. I did physics, applied maths and chemistry in school. So I didn't study business at all. And eventually I found my way to a business degree and figured out that I liked finance, and ultimately went on and deepened my knowledge of finance. So that's another nice aspect of the business degree. Now, another crucial thing about attending university is actually us supporting you through that journey, particularly at the outset. And next we're going to be joined by Declan Mills, our KBS, our designated KBS student support officer. And Declan is really, really important in terms of guiding you through your university experience. So Declan first came to UL as an undergraduate in the Faculty of Arts, but we've stolen him over to the Kemmy Business School now. He went on to do an MA in History and worked as a tutor in the Department of History before becoming the coordinator of our first 7 weeks programme, which is a programme that allows you to integrate seamlessly into the University of Limerick and college life. So in his time as a student, very importantly, Declan was heavily involved in extracurricular activities. He served as Vice President on the Postgraduate Students' Union, Societies Officer in the UL Student Life, and Head of the College Radio Station. So you can see how Declan maximised his college experience by taking on lots of extra things. So as KBS Student Support Officer, his job is to act as the first point of contact for all undergraduate students in the Kemmy Business School who are looking for help with an issue they experience or question they may have. After that rather long introduction, Declan, it's over to you.
Thanks, Fergal. Yeah, I'm an art student. I write long introductions. That's my thing. That's how you use up your word count. Thanks a million. Yeah, I want to talk to you about a few things in terms of supports today. I'm not going to overwhelm you. The first thing is that there's a huge wide range of support when you come to UL, and that support experience starts at your orientation. There's a very comprehensive orientation program in UL where you get to meet your peers, you get to meet students who are from your degree but are in older years and have some experience of the coursework, this sort of thing. You get a guide to the university life. And then we have the first 7 weeks program, which, as Fergal mentioned, helps you settle into your time in UL. It now actually runs for a lot more than the first 7 weeks. This year it ran for all of the first semester, and it's running for the first 4 weeks of this semester. And there's a lot of information there, workshops, guides scattered around the campus. So if you're lost on your way to a lecture building, you can stop and ask for help. We have the library guides as well, who help you utilize the experience of using a big research library for the first time, accessing sources, this sort of thing. We have a lot of academic supports with help from things like writing essays through to the mathematical skills you might need for, say, studying accounting. And there's actually dedicated peer support in the Kemmy Business School for accounting when you take the first year accounting modules in winter semester of your first year, should you do the BBS or law and accounting. There's also then other supports. We have a very comprehensive counselling service. We have a chaplaincy. We have a very, very, very good health centre as well. And that's particularly useful, I think, for people who are coming from a bit further away. This is their first time in Limerick. You don't have a GP or a doctor here. And if you need medical help, you can go to the health centre. So yeah, you don't need to remember all of that because all you really need to remember is me. Because the student support officers, and there's one for each faculty here in UL, exist to be a sort of first point of contact for any issues you're having about anything at all. Realistically, either we'll be able to support the issue and help you through it, or we'll know exactly who you need to go to and we'll put you in touch with them. And it takes a lot of the pain for you transitioning to university out of the experience of accessing help and getting help when you need it. And realistically, everybody needs help at some point. So that supports. There's a lot. Just remember, student support officer, go to them, they'll help. The other thing I really want to talk about, which is related to supports in terms of maximizing your experience, is the rest of the campus experience, which is something Fergal touched on and a couple of people have touched on already tonight. Really maximize your time here, both your time here virtually and physically. There's free workshops you can sign up for. There are lectures you can audit. There are cool and interesting electives you can take down the years. There's the Students' Union, UL Student Life, and there are clubs and societies. And I think clubs and societies for a lot of people are a huge part of how they make their friendships here in UL, particularly at first, and they can be a huge part of what you do with your CV afterwards. And I tell people, look at 3 if you have the time and energy. 1, to blow off steam. So maybe a sport or acting or something that just lets you work off your stress. 1 that's a hobby that you're interested in. For me, that was, as Fergal mentioned, radio. I love media, and that was my one for that. And then pick one that's to do with your field of study. And there is a business society here in clubs and societies in UL, because that's a way to meet people and network with people who've been through what you've been through, who studied on your course and who are interested in working in the same field you are. And that's very, very useful to your future career. And I'm going to sit here and be completely honest and say, I performed well academically. I worked hard. I loved my degree. The reason I'm sitting in this job is my work in clubs and societies and my work in the students' unions. I first got interviewed for first 7 weeks as a staff member in there on the basis of my volunteer work with clubs and societies. And that stuff is hugely important for demonstrating leadership skills, sort of marketing digital skills, those sorts of things that are going to be a part of your career, no matter what you choose to do after you graduate here. You can really, really get from there as well as from things like your work placement. So that's a lot of talking, just like I had a very wordy intro. And all I'm going to say is, if you can make some friends, look at clubs and societies, get on campus and walk around. We have probably the most beautiful campus in the island of Ireland, never mind the country. Enjoy yourselves, and remember, student support officers here to help. If you have any questions or queries, even if you just feel a bit homesick, come to me, we'll have a chat, and all will be well. So with that, thanks for your time. Good luck in your leaving certs. I hope you all get the courses you want.
My first day at Fendi was terrifying. Would I be nothing more than a character in The Devil Wears Prada, carrying out mundane tasks like photocopying and copy runs? Hi, my name is Alice. As a third-year business and French student at UL, the obvious choice of destination for my co-op would have been Paris or Biarritz. But I set my sights firmly on the Big Apple. It took lots of research and planning, and jumping through hoops. but it was worth it when I got the placement of my dreams at the luxurious fashion brand Fendi. I was delighted to be right in the thick of things in the PR and marketing department. I was often involved with providing outfits for top magazine photo shoots. One of the looks I pulled for actress Mila Kunis landed on the cover of Allure magazine. I've also pulled looks for a number of other celebrities, including Jessica Alba, Edward Norton and Diane Lane. My advice to anyone even considering studying business and French at UL is to go for it. This has been the best experience of my life and the first step into an exciting career in marketing.
Some great insights there from Declan to start with respect to clubs and societies and supports. And I really can't emphasize enough how important it is to do those things that Declan talked about, even the basic stuff of walking around the campus, meeting people, etc. It's such a simple thing, but it's so effective. You got a quick video there from Alice as well, and obviously Alice's story is a very impressive one in terms of her co-op experience or her work experience. Now, just before we go on to the FAQ, one of the things that Alice shows you there in terms of her work experiences, as part of your business degree, normally you get to specialise, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But as part of the Bachelor of Business Studies, the 5 specialisms available are accounting and finance, economics and finance, risk management and insurance, marketing and human resource management. So after first year, you get to specialise in one of those, and you know, it gives you that extra bit of space in terms of figuring out what you want to do. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start taking some of your questions, and we're going to start taking some of the most frequently asked questions and try to give you insights and information around the programs. So the 2 course directors that are going to be involved here are Kieran Gallery and Robert Ford from the business school, and I'm going to pass them some questions and I'm sure they'll be well able for them. So I'm going to start with you, Kieran. Maybe if you talked a little bit about the BA in International Business, the language requirements and where people can go in terms of that compulsory year abroad.
Thanks a lot, Fergal. We had a few questions in relation to the language requirements. Just in general, if students are wishing to take a language option, they have to have a H4 minimum in that language. Now, there are exceptions. If you're deciding to take on Japanese or beginner Spanish, then you just need a H4 in a language other than English. Now, on top of that, one of the options that we offer in the BBS, and one that is compulsory in the BA in International Business, is the possibility of spending a semester studying abroad with one of our, I think, almost 90 partners worldwide at this stage. And one of the questions we get commonly asked, and indeed it's been asked already, is what are the language requirements in this instance? So, for example, if you want to spend the semester studying in France, do you need French? If you end up studying in a Spanish-speaking country, do you need Spanish? And the answer is not necessarily. Now, for students that are taking a language, the likes of Spanish, German, French, and even Japanese, we have specific partner universities who can deliver some or all of the modules via the local language, which gives the language students the opportunity to improve their languages while they're spending that semester abroad. However, if you're not taking a language, then there's absolutely no necessity for you to have a language in order to spend a semester studying abroad. And this is because the vast majority of our partners deliver their programs in English. So you can go wherever. You can go to Finland, Sweden, Thailand, I think, is another option, Japan, and all of mainland Europe as well. Now, having said that, there is the opportunity to take an introductory module in the local language. So at least you can survive and get by, and you won't starve while you're over there for want of being able to ask for a slice of bread in the local language.
Thanks, Kieran. That's great. I suppose one of the questions that we regularly get asked as well would be the difference between the BAIB and the Bachelor of Business Studies. So Robert, I'm going to go to you for this one. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the structure of the Bachelor of Business Studies. Again, maybe re-emphasize that you don't have to do a language, and also maybe talk a little bit about whether you've done business before or not.
Perfect. Thanks, Fergal. Yeah, no, it is a common question, and there is a lot of similarities between the programs. I think in my experience, primarily those that take international business have had some experience in Leaving Cert with business topics, and they have a better idea of what they'd like to do when they hit university. Because with the international business program, you have to choose in first year a type of pathway. You're not locked in, but someone had a question earlier about, can you double major? You can kind of double major in international business. You can take an accounting route and say an economics route, or even accounting route and marketing route from first year. And international business also has softer elements like arts elements like law and law, politics, sociology, things like that you can choose from first year as well. Whereas BBS, it's a bigger program, and also it sort of gives you a taste of everything first before you have to make any big decisions. I think that's the key difference. Again, I was like you, Fergal. I did a science degree and then I did the BBS, and besides business, I hadn't done any actual Leaving Cert topic. So again, I didn't have a background in accounting or economics, but first year got me up to speed. Okay, I knew nothing going in, but first year got me up to speed, which allowed me to make an informed choice in second year. So that's the kind of primary difference in terms of the routes that you will take. But otherwise, you still have the same options in terms of language. But IB, international business, you have to go abroad for Erasmus or for your international placement, and you have to go abroad for your work experience. Whereas those are voluntary in the Bachelor of Business Studies program. So those are supposed to be the key differences. I suppose the final one, actually, I haven't heard mentioned, or we haven't mentioned in these events, is the necessity to do a thesis as part of the international business program at the end. It's that kind of capstone project that really illustrates your uniqueness as a student and your ability to be a kind of individual researcher and specialist in a particular topic. Yeah, anything else, Fergal, anything else you'd like me to add? So primarily there's a lot of the same types of choices, but the stage at which you need to make those choices is earlier with IB. And in my opinion, you need less experience going into BBS with business topics than you would in international business.
Thanks, Rob. That's great. I suppose one thing I need to emphasize as well, just in terms of the people on the call, is, I mean, Rob and Kieran and everybody else has given, their perspective, and Rob and Kieran have answered those questions brilliantly. But you'll probably need to do a little bit of online research yourself to get the details of what the lads are saying there. Because remember, you're looking at a 4-year kind of course, and if you want to get the detail of what happens during that 4-year course, as good as the lads are, you're not going to get it in a 30-second, 60-second answer. So you still have to do your little bit of research. Okay, so just to emphasize that for you. And remember, you have contact details at the end of this call so that you can get in touch with us for one-on-ones. So please don't be shy about that. That's what we're here for. We have a question here that I can take. It's after a BBS course in UL, and that would mean the same thing for a BA/IB or law and accounting. Can you complete a master's degree and a doctoral degree? And if so, what is the process? Well, if you do your undergraduate degree, which is what a BBS, BA/IB or law and accounting is, you then have the option to pursue postgraduate study. Now, normally your grades have to be decent. Generally, we award categorizations of pass, 2-2, 2-1 and 1-1. Okay, a 2-2 or a 2-1 will normally be required to go on to do a taught master's program. You can actually go directly onto a PhD program at the end of an undergraduate degree. So they are options available to you. Normally a master's program takes 1 year full time, okay, and that would be a September to September, whereas a PhD would minimum take you 3 years, and on average would probably take you 4, particularly if you're doing it full time. But if you've got other distractions in your life, it'll probably take you longer than that. Okay, so that's the story with respect to master's degrees and doctoral degrees. By the way, the master's degree sometimes will allow you deepen. So let's say you did the Bachelor of Business Studies and you focused on marketing. You could then go on to do an MSc in Marketing, Consumption and Society to deepen your knowledge. But if you did, let's say, the Bachelor of Business Studies with Finance, you might go over and do a bit of business analytics as part of your master's, which would kind of broaden your expertise. Okay, so let me go to another one of our frequently asked questions. Kieran, back to you. Do you want to talk about the dual degree, which is a really key selling point of what we do and a great opportunity for students to take some time abroad as part of their studies?
Absolutely, Fergal. The dual degree option is something that has come about in the relative recent past. We started off with just one partner, but now we've extended it to 6 partners in France, Germany, Poland and Japan. So the dual degree option is something that is available to both Bachelor of Business Studies and Bachelor of Arts in International Business students. Effectively, what it means is that in your first semester of third year, you will spend a semester studying abroad in one of those 6 partners. We have Kedge Business School in Marseille in the south of France. We have Excelia Business School in La Rochelle for all the rugby fans out there. We have Audencia in Nantes, Pforzheim Business School in Germany, Kosminski University in Warsaw in Poland, and Nagoya School of Commerce and Business in Japan. So you'll spend your first semester with one of those. And again, we'll just take the example of Kedge Business School. You'll spend your first semester in third year in Kedge. Then after that, you will go on your paid work experience. And then in fourth year, instead of coming back to UL to complete your degree, you will go back to your dual degree partner. So Kedge Business School in this example. What that means then is that by the end of your 4 years, not only will you have your degree from the University of Limerick, but also you will have an equivalent international business degree from one of those 6 partners. Again, in this instance, Kedge Business School will recognise your first and second years in UL to award an international business degree from Kedge Business School. Now, again, it isn't something that everyone will jump at. Effectively, it's going to mean that you're going to be spending 2 years outside of Ireland. So it is something that, you know, you do have to consider. Now, having said that, you don't have to consider it straight away. It isn't a case of you having to think about it as you're, you know, deciding for your CAO. This is something that we will help you with choosing much further down the line. Normally, we come to you in around the first semester of second year to see whether or not you're interested in pursuing this. So there's plenty of time to think about it. But again, we do think it's a really, really great opportunity for students to expand their horizons beyond the UL degree.
Thanks, Kieran, and I agree. It's a really, really good opportunity as part of the degree to spend some time abroad. It's a real differentiator on CVs. I'm going to go to Robert again now because we just want to kind of knock the points thing on the head and kind of have a little bit of a discussion around that. So everybody knows the context of this discussion in terms of the Leaving Cert and where it's gone in the last couple of years and inflated points, etc. And there's a question in terms of how many people are taken on the program, and Rob will deal with that. But I just want to emphasize one thing, and Rob might touch on this as well. I didn't get anywhere near the points that are required to come onto a business degree right now. All right. So there are alternative routes, particularly into BBSs involving level 6s, 7s and 8s, etc. that Rob might touch on. But Rob, do you want to square off the points thing, the number of places, alternative entry routes, if you can?
Yeah, great for it. Yeah, I suppose the points thing first. It is the kind of hanging question at the moment. It does depend on the type of Leaving Cert that takes place this year. I think that could influence the points for different programs. Our programs did go up last year in terms of their points. So BBS was 451, International Business was 555. If there is a kind of blended system, I can see those points staying or at least increasing. If it's a standalone for the sit-in exam, the points would probably stay the same, maybe drop a small one. Again, that's my opinion. It is speculation at this point. It depends on how good a Leaving Cert class there is. I do know the government are talking about opening up a few more places as well, which will dilute some of the point system. So I think it's a difficult question to answer, but aim roughly for what it was last year. And if it does go up, again, try and have a buffer. So yeah, but I think, and as you said, Fergal, it's really important that if you don't get the points, there is a multitude of other ways of getting onto the program. Okay, so you can either internally transfer if you're in UL, or you can transfer from another university into ours, so long as you meet certain criteria. We have QQI programs that you can take that can give you enough credits to come onto our first year program. So even if you fall short at the Leaving Cert, you can still take some QQI courses, and then you would apply to come into first year. And we take in, depends on the number, I think we're taking in 15, 20 of those every year at least. So we have a space where we take in a certain number of students, through the CEO, but then we take through QQI, we take international applicants and mature applicants as well. So similar with Fergal, again, I transferred from environmental science to BBS. And Fergal came from physics and maths. So yeah, just because if you don't achieve CEO points on the first round or even the second round, don't be disheartened. There's a multitude of avenues, and luckily enough, the government has reacted to that, and the CEO website is a lot more informative of those types of things as well. In terms of numbers, I suppose the international business program takes 60 students, I think, max. My colleague Kieran will confirm that, but I think it's 60. Is there a nod, Kieran? 60? Yeah, nod from Kieran. So 60 students, whereas the BBS program takes just short of 500. So it's a big program, but that's whittled down in terms of the number of choices that you take throughout your 4 years. So yeah, a lot of places. We expect the points to stay strong though, especially now that we are now in the top 1% of business schools. I see our points staying similar, if not a little bit higher next year. What do you think, Fergal?
Yeah, I'd agree. I suppose, look, do your Leaving Cert, do the best you can, and the points essentially look after themselves to a certain extent. The good news that we can give you is that we won't be cutting the number of places available. So we know that as a fact. So there's going to be as many places available, if not more, on our programs next year. And the points will be what the points will be, and that will be determined by lots of things in terms of Leaving Cert, which is out of all of our control for the moment. Yeah, so I'm going to come back to the students now, actually, and I'm going to go to you first, Emmett. And Emmett, just maybe talk to people that mightn't have studied business before, or how is it starting stuff from scratch? Is it easy? Do we make it easy for you? And forget the fact that your lecturers are here in front of you. Speak honestly.
I'll speak from there, don't worry. So for myself, I never actually studied business in Flanders, because I don't think you can study business with French at the same time. So while I did do economics, so when I came into international business, there was a little bit of foundation that I built myself through the Leaving Cert in one of the economics modules. But for the most part, it's a completely new course. And not only that, the way that they approach learning is so different and so much more practical and engaging than the Leaving Cert, that you're kind of approaching a subject that maybe you have done in Leaving Cert, but in new, more engaging ways. So even for people that have studied a business subject or economics or accounting before, you'll be kind of getting a new perspective, new insights. You'll be studying it differently. For people that haven't done any business or economics or accounting modules, you don't need to worry about that either, because there's such a good foundation built from the beginning. I think Amy said in the chat there were so many resources available from UL and the Kemmy Business School to help you. So there's no need to worry. If you've never done a business subject before, you'll be well able to tackle it when you get to UL.
Thanks, Emmett. And we often actually find that people that have no business actually outperform people that do, because they kind of feel like a little bit of an underdog, and they work that little bit harder and sometimes accelerate past people. What about you, Amy? How did you find it?
Yeah, I agree with Emmett. Whereas I studied business and accounting for my Leaving Cert, but I dropped to ordinary level accounting because I was doing 8 subjects, so I let that one go. And even that basically, I didn't need to have that at all coming into first year, where it was a help, but it was only help for myself. Like, but it is. I never studied economics, and I'm not gonna lie, I did find that quite tough at the start because I had no previous history. But like, the lecturers and your tutors are so approachable and are always there to answer your questions. There's office hours there. There's extra supports. Like, don't ever let that put you off choosing a course like the BBS or the BAIB just because you feel you may fall behind. Because Fergal, I agree. I have many friends that never did business and are doing absolutely fine. They've gotten to 4th year anyway, so can't be doing too bad.
Thanks, Amy. That's great. Couple of more questions coming in there. There's one I can kind of deal with myself very quickly, and it's basically, can you go on Erasmus as part of the BBS? And essentially, yes, you can. And by the way, it's not just business degrees that you can actually study abroad, and you can probably go abroad on most programs in Ireland by taking a choice to go on Erasmus. So that opportunity is open to you. Just going back to Rob there for 1 second, actually, while it comes to mind, in terms of figuring out alternative paths, that will require a bit of research on your part, and also some, I suppose, engagement with your guidance counsellors and other advisors in your life, because, you know, let's say the points don't crumble your way and you really want to come to UL, you just need to do a little bit of extra research, and even contact us in terms of, I haven't gained a place, what can I do so I can come next year, and we can give you that type of advice. I'm going to go back to you, Rob, now again. It's a challenging question because it's always difficult to remember them all. There is a list of minor options that accompanies the major options on the BBS. So like I said, I'm a graduate of BBS. I majored in accounting and finance. There are 5 majors, by the way. And I minored in financial services because I didn't take a language, all right? So I was able to take a different minor. Do you want to talk a little bit about the options available there, Rob?
Yep, absolutely. Actually, I just put a link in the chat function for about QQI. So if anyone wants more information about QQI awards and how that gives them access, I just put the link in the chat there. In terms of the minor option, yeah, it does become quite tricky. So you, as Fergal said, there is 5 major options. And then at the beginning of 3rd year, you have option of a multitude of minor options. They can be law, sociology, they can be finance, they can be what I did. So I did risk as a major and entrepreneurship as a minor. Never the two should meet, but they do, because it just provides something a bit different in risk and entrepreneurship. I mean, I suppose when you think of it, they do go hand in hand, but yeah, it's kind of, it doesn't have to complement. So Fergal did finance major, kind of finance minor, whereas I see a lot of my students that take risk major and law minor, or risk major and supply chain. So the supply chain, as you say, if you're not doing it, so you can do a language as a minor, or you can do, yeah, so law, sociology, supply chain, financial services, entrepreneurship, which is, I think, is also enterprise formation. There's definitely a few more I'm missing out on. There's all, it's like 7 deadly sins. I always forget 1 or 2 every time I mention them. But yeah, there's roughly about sort of this, I don't know, there's 7 or 8 different minor options that you can also take. But it's just more a string to your bow, just an additional area of interest you can take on. It doesn't necessarily define you, and is often taken on as an area of interest that sort of is relative to, or at least complements, your major option.
Super, Rob. Yeah, and I think maybe one of us can put the link in there to the list of minors in the chat. That'd be great. Kieran, you wanted to come in on this one as well.
Yeah, Ferg, it was, I guess it was just, there was a question up on the live event Q&A with regards to whether or not there was an entrepreneurship major in the BAIB. And I guess I did want to emphasize the difference from that perspective from the BBS and the BAIB. As Rob mentioned, when it comes to the BBS, you will major in a particular area, be it accounting and finance, economics, HR, risk management, etc. However, with the BAIB, given the nature of the program, as Emmett spoke about earlier on, the fact that you can pick and choose your modules for every semester that that you're in UL, effectively means that it's quite difficult then to actually award a major. So with the BAIB, you're not going to have a BA in international business majoring in accounting and finance or whatever. It'll just be the BA in international business. Now, the only thing is, having said that, if you decide that you do want to focus in on all the accounting modules, then there's absolutely nothing stopping you from doing that. Or as Rob said, if you want to pick maybe 2 specific areas to look at, be it risk and marketing, for example, again, not a problem. I suppose it's one of the big selling points for it is the flexibility of the program to tailor the degree that you come out with, so that by the end of it, 2 people that have gone through the same 4 years in the BAIB will not come out with the same degree at the end of it, and potentially can have 2 completely different experiences.
Thanks, Kieran. We're going to go back to the clubs and societies now. It's very obvious in many cases about the clubs at universities because they sometimes have a higher profile, right? But societies are an amazing part of university experience, and they can vary widely. And Declan's going to talk to you a little bit about that. And maybe Declan, mention the fact that you can actually set up your own.
Yeah, thanks, Fergal. Yeah, you can set up your own. You just need 25 signatures of other registered students. There's 76 currently active clubs and societies in UL, 39 societies and 37 clubs. With clubs, that ranges from like the obvious, there's a GAA club, there's a football club, there's an American football club, into more obscure things like maybe trampolining and gymnastics, chess, esports. And then with societies, there's a very, very wide range as well. There's societies that are associated with particular political parties. There's societies that are associated with particular interests, like there's an arts and crafts society. There's a college radio station. There is a newspaper. There's a feminist society, an LGBTQ society. There's a Christian union. There's an Islamic society. I could go on. There's a huge range. There's a website. I'm going to drop the website in the Q&A chat now, ulwolves.ie, which is where you can go and look up, and when you are a student, you can register to join. You can, as Fergal mentioned, you can also set up your own if there's a gap you've noticed, if there's something that's of interest to you, and there's a process to talk you through that and help guide you through that system. Yes, Kieran has just noted, don't forget Ultimate Frisbee, which was a really, really cool club, actually. Ultimate Frisbee, they've competed in the United States and international championships and stuff. I'm surprised after we had Tom on, there wasn't more talk about the GA club. But yeah, there's a huge range of things, and it's hugely beneficial to your social life, to your mental health, to your physical health, to your future career and your CV. And I think for me, I went to secondary school 20 minutes up the road. So there was a large chance that I was coming to UL anyway. 176 out of 177 people in my Leaving Cert year went to UL. But a pull factor for me was the clubs and societies. And some of the clubs and societies do outreach to secondary schools around Limerick, which can be great for your CV if you get involved in that, but also meant as a secondary school student here in Limerick, I already was drawn in by those things. I think it's a lovely opportunity to do some really cool things. There's amazing opportunities for international travel, taking on new challenges, ending up in a cool video that UL Marketing Comms uses to promote the university that ends up going viral. That's happened a couple of times. And genuinely, it's just a really great way of deepening your experience of UL as a campus and adding a different component to your time as an undergraduate student that enriches your degree. So definitely do it.
Thanks, Declan. That's great. As a card-carrying member of the GA, I might just mention one thing in relation to sports in UL. I think our female sports teams are exceptional and are on at least an equal footing as our male teams. In fact, I would suggest that the ladies football team, ladies GA team, and the Camogie team probably eat the men's teams in terms of culture. So that's just something that I'd just like to add to the story. Listen, we're going to have to wrap up. We don't want to keep you any longer than the hour. We might run another taster event in the run up to Change of Mind, and we can send you a link to sign up. But do please keep an eye out for that. The other thing would be, there was a question in terms of a postgraduate event for the future, and that's likely to happen at the end of February, start of March. So keep an eye on our social media channels for that. So what we've tried to do here tonight is give you an insight into a taste of what college life at the Kemmy Business School is like, and we're here to support students and use the connections that you made tonight, whether it be me, Fergal O'Brien, Kieran Gallery, Declan, whoever. Look us up on the UL website and contact us. That's what we're there for. Big shout out to our student ambassadors who were here with us tonight, and that's another great opportunity for you. If you come and study at the business school, you can be actually part of our ambassador team. So thanks to Emmett and Amy. Thanks to Tom Morrissey, he's always very generous with his time to us, and obviously Declan, who is super in terms of what he gives us for these events and what he does for our students. Thanks to Kieran and to Rob for representing the course directors. And there's two people that haven't come on camera, and they're behind the scenes, they're producing the event, and they do a brilliant job for the Kemmy Business School, Elaine Milan and Aaron King, and they keep things running smoothly for us. So thank you for joining. Remember to follow us on the social media channels, and we'll leave you with a final video after which the event will end. Thanks, everybody.